There is some pretty good news that came out of Arizona again today, and this is more directed at Kyrsten Sinema. We talked a little bit about the election stuff yesterday in Arizona, but this is kind of a big deal. So the Arizona Democratic Party has just resoundingly 80% of the Arizona Democratic Party has voted no confidence in Kyrsten Sinema if she does not reform the filibuster. And what was the other one? Yep. So Arizona Dems are promising to disavow Kyrsten Sinema if she doesn't support filibuster reform. But there was another one too. The motion, I'll read a little bit of what this says. The Arizona Democratic Party has reportedly voted today to adopt a resolution pledging to issue a vote of no confidence in Senator Kyrsten Sinema if she does not support filibuster reform or President Joe Biden's agenda when it comes, if I can talk today, when it is brought before Congress in the coming weeks. In the motion passed by over 80% of the party, the ADP also floats the possibility of censuring Sinema and withdrawing their support for her if and when she runs for her seat again in 2024. The party did not officially announce the resolution, but voting delegates of the ADP shared the news online. The ADP's motion comes along with news that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will put 3 bills up for voting before the entire House of Representatives this week. The Democrats have a majority, albeit narrow, in the House, and once they pass, they will move to the Senate. In the Senate, the current filibuster rules allow for bills not to pass even if they have majority support. According to the motion concerning Kyrsten Sinema, the ADP voted to reaffirm our support for ending the filibuster and giving notice of possible vote of no confidence. The resolution reads, while we want Senator Sinema to be successful, her argument that the filibuster protects the rights of minorities has become laughable in the face of Republican state legislatures. Actions on voting rights, public health during the pandemic, and abortion rights. The ADP has therefore found that they will closely watch Senator Sinema's votes in the coming weeks, and if she does not vote in favor of filibuster reform to allow the passage of the For the People Act, Voting Rights Bill, the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill, and other urgent legislation, the ADP State Committee will go officially on record and will give Senator Sinema a vote of no confidence. The resolution also pledges that if Sinema has not supported such legislation by the next state committee meeting in January 2022, they will issue a formal letter of censure to Senator Sinema with the clear understanding that she could potentially lose the support of the ADP in 2024. Several prominent Democrats and activists, including LGBTQ activists, have made clear they'll oppose Sinema's reelection if she doesn't change her position. Civil rights leaders such as Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton have both protested against her in recent months. Where was I? Senator Sinema and Senator Joe Manchin have held up President Joe Biden's domestic agenda for months by refusing to kill the filibuster, a procedural remover historically used to prevent the passage of civil rights legislation. True and based. It is a relic of Jim Crow and is currently being used to stop voting reform, raising the minimum wage, and landmark LGBTQ civil rights legislation like the Equality Act, which protect LGBTQ people from discrimination in federal law. Interesting that she's doing that because she's supposedly the first openly bisexual woman in Congress, yet she is spending a large amount of time doing nothing but preventing civil rights legislation that supposedly would benefit her community. I got to wonder where her loyalties really lie. The measure requires 60 votes instead of the usual 50 to get a bill passed. With the Senate equally divided 50-50, it effectively means that any bill requires the support of at least 10 Republicans to pass. The GOP has been united in opposing any legislation supported by Democrats and refused to support Biden's agenda. Yep. Without the opportunity to filibuster, 50 Democrats could vote in favor of a bill, and Vice President Kamala Harris, a Democrat, would break the tie. When LGBTQ activists and donors pointedly issued an ultimatum demanding Sinema get on board or lose support from the community, the senator published an op-ed in Washington Post defending her decision to scuttle bills that tackled issues she campaigned on by refusing to remove the filibuster. Sinema has essentially doomed what she claims are her own priorities. In recently revealed videos, several notoriously anti-LGBTQ politicians, chief among them former Senator Rick Santorum, tell an audience they should thank Sinema for dooming LGBTQ rights laws. More recently, hate group leader Brian Brown, a longtime anti-LGBTQ advocate and president of the National Organization for Marriage, which still hopes to end marriage equality, also praised Sinema and used her position for fundraising. So, as we can see, Sinema's made a hard-ass turn. One that I don't think... I think people in Arizona knew it was coming. I don't think that people maybe that knew her nationally figured that she would do the same. That does happen. It happens, you know. That's you have corrupt politicians that are going to corrupt politician, you know. So, like I said, good news. Kyrsten Sinema is got a lot of pressure being put on her, and rightfully so. Hopefully that'll carry over, and it'll force her into, you know, making some better choices as a legislator. I really can't figure out what her plan is. Is she just a grifter? Well, it's weird. You know, Obi, interestingly enough, you asked that because she actually was very, very progressive for a long time in the House. So the swing to the right, my guess is she got some money, she got somebody in her ear, or it could be there's some kind of compromise on her, you know. I mean, that's the thing that happens. Obviously not by Russia, but, you know, American politicians are, you know, vulnerable to the same shit within the country, so...